Hello, everyone, and welcome to Go with Abhi podcast session number three. Today we have T joining us from Bali. He's from UK, London. He is having a workation or is it a vacation from Bali? Let's get to know more about him. How are you doing today, T?
I'm good. I'm good. It's very nice being in Bali. I am. This is a workation, so I'm just remote working whilst I'm out here. But I'll be honest with you, I'm probably enjoying myself more than I am working. To be honest with you, so there are a lot of mosquitoes around me. So if I'm just doing this, don't pay too much attention to it.
I
I'm not
feel
used to
you.
that.
The yeah, pros and cons of being in the tropical region.
Yes.
All right, great. So, can you give me a brief overview of your background, highlighting the aspects that led you to digital marketing?
Yes. Okay. So initially, I'll be honest with you. Think I was around 17, 18 years old. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So like every kid at that age, you you go on YouTube, you type how to make money online. I found dropshipping. I started dropshipping unsuccessfully. That led me into owning a theme page around a football team, Liverpool Football Club. It was called Project LFC. Built that up a few times. Like I lost the account a few times, but we got it up to like I got up to like 40K followers, which was like a massive milestone for me at the time. Like that was the first proper marketing initiative I had. How to basically gather attention, and then I used that to then get my first digital marketing job, which was essentially my placement year at university, and that was like my
Okay.
even to this day I would say it's probably like one of the biggest achievements. Like even if it doesn't stack up to other things, like it took 10 months to get that job. Like it's a long search to get that job. So that was a huge thing. And then whilst I was there, I had a really good experience. It was like a cybersecurity company. I was essentially uh, like a one-man show for the marketing. I think everyone's been there where they've just got to, it's a small startup. You've just got to do everything you can. So that was that. And then I left that job in 2020. No, in 2020, I left that job and then decided to start a Facebook ad agency. Soon realized I didn't really like Facebook ads, had a few clients, but didn't really enjoy it that much. Pivoted to email marketing, and that's where I've basically had like the most success so far in my career. We work with some really great brands, and yeah, we've delivered some really great results for them. And I think personally, I feel more fulfilled now than I ever have. So that's a brief overview of my digital marketing journey, at least.
Well, I think that was uh, not just brief; it was comprehensive and kind of surprising to see the way you have changed things and the way you landed in a role where you were doing everything alone. And that I believe that's where you might have learned a lot in the initial days of your marketing career, right?
Yes, yes. What did help was whilst I was the person who was maybe doing it alone, I did have guidance in the company, and the person that was guiding me, like to this day, I still look at him like a massive mentor for me, and he's actually one of the big reasons as to why I've come to Bali because he was. I remember we'd be in. I was in Bristol. That was where I went to university, and that was where my placement was. And he would call in from Bali. He would call in from like this really fancy gym, and we would just be sat there in rainy Bristol on Zoom, and he would be sat there with like a unbelievable swimming pool behind him and all this kind of stuff. And he kind of exposed the Bali nomad life to me. So it's a big reason as to why I'm here. But yeah, he was such a massive guidance for me in that job, but also just in life as well, I would say. So yeah, I'll probably talk about it a bit more, but guidance and mentorship is it's a huge aspect of progressing in digital marketing.
I agree. And also, networks are important, like how you and I met each other thanks to a community from Rich and Niche,
Yes,
because of which we got to learn so much from each other and kind of get in touch with so many people from different backgrounds.
exactly.
Well, getting on to the next question. How many years exactly have you been working in digital marketing? And what were the some of the key milestones in your career so far?
Yeah, so I kind of touched on like when I started. So I wouldn't really count the dropshipping stuff, to be honest. Like it was fun. Like I got to build like basic Shopify websites which did not convert, but I would say I officially started when I started that Instagram page. So maybe 2018, so about 5 years now.
Wow.
And like I said, in terms of key milestones, I think getting that first job was everything to me, because like there were so many great talented young people applying for these internships and placements, and they were beating me to every single one. Every single one I applied to, I just couldn't get it. But like I just kept going, and eventually there was one company, like the company that I eventually started working with, that did give me that chance. And yeah, that was a massive milestone. And then the next milestone, like I said, is probably the agency side. So um, actually running this email marketing agency, and scaling it up, and having like a small team, and having like a client base that is just fantastic to work with. Like just I love the people that we work with because they're so ambitious, and it really rubs off on you as well. So yeah, I think they're the real key milestones for me. And anyone that knows me, like they, every time I talk about like how I got into digital marketing, I always talk about like the placement, and I always talk about the agency, because they're the two big things for me.
Great, great. When I hear these stories that you have, I feel like not many people understand the way you live your life when you transition into this career. You know what I mean? And the kind of benefits and perks someone has when they are in this career per se. Talking about the learnings and all that, I'm sure you might have answered this before, but to what extent have you combined formal education with self-taught methods in honing your digital marketing skills?
Oh, this is something that's quite contentious, you could say, because I don't really think the formal education helped too much. But then I guess you could caveat that. Okay, I'll explain. So I think if you're wanting to get into digital marketing, and you've never done it before, and you're completely new to this, which I guess a lot of viewers will be, you don't need a degree for this, right? Especially if you go down the freelancer route, especially if you go down the agency owner route, you're going to learn way more doing things. And the thing is, though, if you want to get a job, unfortunately, it's just a bit of a requirement to have a degree for most jobs. So I say unfortunately because I genuinely don't think the content that you learn at university is going to help you significantly towards your goals. And I speak from experience because I studied marketing at university. So in my university, and I've compared this with other university students at different universities, and tried to see, like, was it just my university that did this? But it's not. First 2 years was pretty much theory and a lot of like general business content, right? So not a lot of marketing specifically. Then it came to third year. Third year, digital marketing was an optional module, and I've heard this is quite popular across a lot of universities. So unless you're studying digital marketing specifically, um, they don't even really make it mandatory. And I think these days it's very difficult to say that marketing is anything other than digital. Obviously, there are other forms, but like the main form of marketing these days is digital. And the fact it's a optional module on your £27,000 degree, that kind of makes me think it's not really um, mandatory for you and your education. You shouldn't have to wait 3 years to do digital marketing. And more so, I don't think the content is anywhere near as detailed enough for you to really say, okay, I've got enough experience and knowledge now to really go ahead and make a career out of this. Everything that comes from your all the successes that you have, they're all going to happen because you self-taught yourself, because you took courses. And I think courses are by far the best way to go about things. So not so much degrees, um, more so courses, like how we met, Abby. Like we met through a person called Richard Niche. He has a set of digital marketing courses. They're fantastic. I can recommend them. Those types of courses will propel you way further. And with these courses, they have communities. That's how we met. The communities are full of intelligent people who are also on a journey, people who are happy to share learnings. All of that is far more valuable than a degree, in my opinion, especially because obviously we work in a world where we are trying to be remote, we're trying to be self-employed, we're not really trying to have a job. But like, I do bring it back and caveat it all the time, because it's like it is dependent on the individual. If you're trying to build that career in digital marketing, maybe it's better to just have the degree. But that being said, it doesn't have to be a digital marketing degree. It doesn't have to be a marketing degree. A lot of companies these days will just be happy with a degree, just any degree. So I have a friend who studied philosophy, and she's killing it in digital marketing. This is what I mean. So you can just kind of just if you want to go down job path, get a degree, I would say, but don't think it has to be business and it has to be marketing, because companies just don't look at things as binary as that anymore. So I hope that answers your
That
question.
was a really, yeah, that it does answer my question, and that was a really subtle answer, and also comprehensive in a way that the way you mentioned how formal education was not of much use to you.
Mm.
And I listened to this from many people, and same goes for me. I did my MBA in marketing specialization, but we hardly learned anything about digital marketing back in 2014, 2016. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
at that point of time, Facebook ads was in prime.
Mm.
And imagine our university syllabus was around a decade old than what is going on in the market. So of course, even if they try to keep up to date when it comes to this university syllabus, I don't think they will ever be able to keep up with the demands that the industry has. And
Yes.
those demands are somehow covered by the courses, because these courses are updated, they are to the point, they are cheap, they're not as expensive as universities. Like you are hardly paying 500 to $1,000, or maybe at max $2,000 for some
Yeah.
courses, and you kind of transition yourself completely from a person who had no background in marketing to someone who is closer to a beginner or intermediate person once you learn from those courses and apply in your first or second client, or even your first job for that matter.
Yeah.
So I agree with that.
100%. You know,
Now,
honestly, it's crazy how they don't even teach the stuff. Like, I mean, but even if you're right, even if they wanted to, and even if they have the right intentions to do so, it's just impossible because things are changing so often. Like, if you started teaching Facebook ads in let's say 2019, you're teaching Facebook ads, and there's like a set way of scaling your ads, your ad sets. Um, you know, you're gonna end up in a situation where a year down the line, iOS 14 happens. The course you're on is not teaching you about that, and you're gonna go into 2020 with the 2019 ideas where things have changed. You know, like the whole market has shifted. There's a whole situation happening, and they're not aware of it. So you're right. It is way better to be inside of these courses. I mean, even if the course content doesn't constantly get updated, the communities help with that because the communities are updated. They are in the know. They are on the ground. They're in the trenches. It'd be very difficult to miss something like iOS 14, for instance, because you know your favorite Facebook ad marketer who is really good at Facebook ads suddenly is stressing because they're not as good at it anymore because they have to adapt, and that's constantly what happens. It's a game of adapting, and that's why these degrees don't really cut it in that way. Like I said, it's not really their fault. I don't really say it's a bad thing. They have to. They're a business at the end of the day. They have to sell it as a solution. Is what it is. But I think people should know that there are other alternatives. And something like Rich and Nietzsche. Rich can clip this up. It's better than university degree if you want to get into digital marketing. So I recommend that guy. I recommend his programs. But there are other programs as well.
exactly. And oh, if only when like I would also recommend that only for the community itself. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Because when I joined and bought the courses, I saw so many people who are in the community. You only start learning so much by only like you just need to interact with people over there, and that's enough for you to get started when it comes to learning new things. You see what they are doing exactly, and you ask questions. You get answers to those questions in different format from different people. You get different opinions. So yes, an active and thriving community is really important for your growth in a dynamic career
mm.
like digital marketing. Now, you just mentioned that you started in 2018, a few minutes ago. So it has been 5 years for you in this career.
Mm.
Can you describe some of the clients you have worked with and the projects that stand out in terms of innovation and success?
Yeah, I think when it comes to that, I think the first one is that always is close to me is the Instagram page because I lost it so many times. So it was a game of persistence, really, and resilience. I had the account the first time I had the account. It took 9 months to get to 10K followers, and that was a big milestone. But then I was posting copyrighted infringing content, so we lost the account very quickly. And then it took like 3 months to get to like I think it was like 20K or something. So and then I lost it to hacking, and then it happened again, literally the same number, 20K. Lost it again to hacking, and then it came back to 40K. But it was like constantly having the resilience and the constant understanding of what works, right? If that makes sense, because every time I lost the account, I was like, okay, well, I know what works. I know what people want to see. So it became easier to get back to the milestones, and it became easy to grow. So that is always a big project, I always say. And to be honest, I think, beginner digital marketers will always hold their first projects very close to themselves, because if you have no experience, you have nothing to rely on. That is the thing that's going to get you that first job, right? Or that first project, that first big project, I should say. So that's the first thing. Then with the agency, I would say this again, the email marketing sides. We work with some really good clients. I think one of our clients, like Paper Shoot Camera, they're really cool. If you've never heard of them, it's like an eco-friendly alternative to digital film, to like typical film photography, and it's just really cool products, and yeah, they do really well. And the project that probably stands out most in terms of what we've done for them is actually not email marketing. It was actually setting up a Discord community for them, and allowing them to basically bring their customers closer to them by allowing a situation where usually we're just communicating to the customer and we don't ever hear back from them. You might see the odd Instagram post or something. They might leave a comment or something like that. They might give us a DM, but there was not one comprehensive place where they could share their photography with their paper shoot camera with us. So we said, okay, this would be a great way to get people into a community, let them share the photos, and that community is thriving. Like it's gone even better than we could have thought, and now they have another marketing channel as well. But more importantly, all of these people can now talk about their photography, and all of the photography is based on the product. So that's a project that I really enjoyed. I think that was quite an innovative project. I have a friend I consider her a mentor. She sets up communities for brands as well, and she really was like pushing the idea onto me and saying, like, if there's any brands that you have that maybe this could work for, you should give it a shot. And no one else is talking about this, so it's a bit of a shot in the dark in terms of how to do it. But taking that leap of faith and saying, what, this brand needs this, and if they can be early into this, if they can be early into having a Discord community, this would be massively beneficial. Like, having an email list of, I think, like 100,000 they have, is nice. It's fantastic. It makes them a lot of money. But having a group of, I think it's about 1,200 at the moment, customers only, loyal customers who are engaging like every day, sharing their photos, talking about the product, that in itself is so valuable. And the concept of 1,000 true fans, that's basically what we've put into action for them. And it's nice to see that whilst we are an email marketing agency, we've been able to do something a bit out of the box and still help our clients produce more revenue and achieve a greater connection to their customers through a different means. So yeah, I've really enjoyed that. And yeah, like I said, that's a project that really stands out for us. That was quite recent. That was like we only launched the community maybe 3 or 4 months ago. We got the first like 200 people in, and they were like the best customers. And then we launched it to all customers, and that's when we've now had like 1,200 people in, and then we've closed it again, and it's like, okay, we'll reopen it again and let customers slowly in again. And like, you can only imagine how we're going into Black Friday, Cyber Monday. You can only imagine like how that's gonna play out. Like, one Discord notification, it doesn't cost you anything. The community costs nothing to run, in terms of how, setting it up and people running it and things like that. Like, everybody's doing like a voluntary thing, but there's no cost of Discord. But if it was an SMS, for instance, to send that to your phone, obviously it's going to cost you money, right? So uh, it's a really cool thing that we've been able to do for them. So yeah, but I digress. That's my answer.
Well, you just mentioned the important aspect of the communities, and I feel that when it comes to implementing communities in one's business, many people ignore that because it's very time taking in everyday routine. You have to take care of people, you have to nurture them, you have to kind of look at them and give them attention and take care of their needs, and also it's long term thing, so the perks that you just mentioned, getting everything, like getting sales for free without any additional costs because you are maintaining a community, those perks are only in picture when you are actually taking action and helping your community actively every day on a routine basis. And that's when they are rooting for you. That's when you are like, okay, 1000 true fan concepts is starting to work for us. Maybe we have 10 true fans, they'll buy everything that we have to sell, and then that turns into 20, then 40, then 100, and maybe eventually a few hundreds, right? So
Yeah.
there's this instant gratification versus delayed gratification. So instant gratification almost wins compared to a delayed gratification for many people, because they don't see the big picture. They don't want to see the picture 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, and that's why many people avoid the community aspect of business. And whichever big business that you think of today, they are winning because of communities. Even if you talk about
Absolutely.
huge gaming titles, you talk about great brands, what is that exactly? That is taking care of your community. The communities can be open and closed, but that is a really, really important aspect that I believe that every business should take care of, no matter what you do. No matter what you do.
Yeah. The lifeblood of these companies. Like they would struggle to survive without these people. And there's such a lack of focus on them. It's always bringing new customers in, but okay, there are a lot of people that love your brand already that you have never ever really interacted with or built a place for them to talk to you. So doing that is massive, really.
Agree. Well, I want to know from you, what are the most challenging aspects of this career, and how have you tackled them, or how do you plan to tackle them?
Yes. Okay. So with digital marketing, it's, as I mentioned earlier, it's all about adapting. So I think one thing that's really easy to do is to just kind of sit still and think you know what you know, and that's all you'll ever need to know. And I haven't made that mistake in the past of just kind of sitting still, um, thinking like, we're getting results now, and I can just focus on getting better at the things I already know. If that makes sense, or doing more of what I already know. But there has to be this element of, okay, I am in a space that is constantly changing, and you have to be aware of that, and you have to accept it. I almost didn't want to accept it. I don't know why. Maybe at the beginning it was just something that beginners do. I don't know. But once you accept it's the reality of the situation is that things are constantly going to change. That's when you can start to play around with the way you work as well. So what I mean by that is having like random experimentation in there as well. So rather than just having your set schedule and you do these things every single day, try to find ways of learning new things and then testing those new things in your work as well. If you can do that, then you're going to constantly be ahead of the curve. So, if people are talking about, okay, so we use Klaviyo for email marketing. If people in a community are talking about a brand new Klaviyo feature, don't ignore it. Like, read the message and then try to act upon that and try to actually go ahead and use the feature, and try to see how could that benefit you, your learnings, and your clients. And doing so is going to make you a better digital marketer, and that's how you adapt. Because the truth is, and I think this is true for a lot of things, a lot of people don't know what they're doing. We're all kind of making it up as we go along, but all you can do is give yourself the best chance by staying aware of what's happening around you and not being ignorant to what's happening around you. So like, I can openly say I was maybe being quite ignorant at the beginning, thinking that this is the little bubble that I live in, but that bubble will burst. Like I was mentioning Facebook ads earlier. If you were a media buyer in 2019 and you were living off like your past successes and what you currently knew at that time, 2020 would have been really bad for you, really bad for you. I think it was 2021. It's actually 2021. iOS 14 was 2021.
2021.
So yeah, so that would really, really like hurt you because you were sleeping, right? And you don't want to be sleeping in this industry. So it doesn't mean that you have to just be constantly doing, constantly, maybe like 90% of your workload is trying to find new things and things like that. But it does mean that maybe 20%, maybe 20%, 80-20 rule would apply here, in terms of trying to find out what's happening in the industry, staying aware of what's happening, and then just trying to implement that on your own work, I would say. So that's the biggest lesson and humbling I think I've had in terms of, okay, you know, this you can gain everything and lose it just as quickly. So you need to stay on top of it. Like you can't just sit there and think you know everything. You can't. And truth is, even when I thought I knew everything, I knew nothing. So like, why was I stopping anyway? It made no sense.
Right, right. So, compared to jobs, I also agree with your point. Compared to jobs, in job, they tell you what to do, and when you are promoted, they tell you what are your new roles about and what are
Mm,
your new responsibilities. And end of the day, you are not really responsible to do the researching part and see what's going on. But it is really different when it comes to being on your own and freelancing and being in the agency business. No one's behind you, to no one's running behind you or chasing you to
mm,
keep updated. You have to do it for yourself and for your clients, and only then you will stay updated and stay in the competition. Otherwise, yeah, people will get ahead of you really easily if you're just keeping quiet and sleeping around. Right, great. So, looking back,
absolutely,
are you
absolutely.
satisfied with choosing this career path, and what would you have done differently, if anything?
Good question. Good question. Absolutely. Like that is without a shadow of a doubt. Absolutely made the right decision choosing this as a career, because I think, as I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast, being a lost like 18-year-old, or however old I was, like God, these mosquitoes are awful. Being lost and not knowing what to do in life, and then suddenly having direction. I feel like that only could have come through this industry. I feel like, and then being able to be self-employed as well. Again, I don't know what other industries maybe would allow that to even happen at my age, at the time, to gain the kind of skills and gain them quickly and then gain experience quickly. Where else can you really gain that kind of level of experience? Maybe programming, I guess, is a similar type of world. um, but like, the alternatives for me would have been like an accounting job, or studying law, whatever, right? Like it would have been completely away from these things. If you look at what you get for being a digital marketer, one of the things that is absolutely, I would say it's one of the most beautiful aspects of being a digital marketer is freedom. It's like, okay, I can work from anywhere, and that is something that a lot of people just don't have. And it's like, I could never regret this path, knowing that I have freedom now, right? Like even like being in Bali, right? Like I would have to book out annual leave to come here on with a job, right? As a self-employed digital marketer, I can just be here and I don't have to answer to anybody, right? I have to obviously make sure the work gets done, clients are still happy, etc. But I have to not answer to anybody in terms of, okay, yeah, can I have my 2 weeks off, please? Oh, I'm sick today, but I have no sick days left. I'm gonna have to just work. Like it's a strange, that's a strange world, and I'm really glad that I didn't have to, be in that world. Even the job that I did work, Corona happened, and within like I think within like 6 months we were working online anyway. We were working remote, so all I've known really is the remote life, and I'm really glad I've never had to. I didn't get sucked in. People call it the Matrix and whatnot. I don't want to cringe this podcast out, but that whole thing. So yeah, absolutely don't regret it. I think it's a brilliant choice, especially if you don't know what to do in life and you just want to experiment. There are so many different things in digital marketing. Like, okay, I chose email marketing in the end, but I experimented with social media, Facebook ads. With the company I was working with, I was doing LinkedIn outreach. I was doing LinkedIn posts. Like I was doing all sorts of things. So there are so many different ways of doing things with digital marketing. Even if you're like, I met this girl yesterday, and she said she was a healer. Like her business is a healer, but when you break it down, how does she make a living online? She's a digital marketer. That's what she is. She might obviously be selling like a different type of service, but how is she getting customers? How is she able to eat? How is she able to live in Bali? It's digital marketing. So there are many benefits of learning this as a skill, and there's many benefits of getting into this as a career. So I would always recommend, if you don't know what to do in life, give this a shot. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. I think you will be very happy that you know these skills anyway, and that you can use them in other areas of life. And yeah, I just don't think I think sales and marketing, you can never regret learning sales and marketing. So yeah, you know, I would recommend it 100%.
Yes, these skills can be used anywhere, and I love the fact that you shared the example of the girl who is a healer, but ultimately she has digital marketing skills. That is a prime example of doing what you love. So let's say you love sports, you can do something related to sports with the help of skills in digital marketing industry, and you
Yeah.
can stay remote. Even for me, when I started this career, one thing was very clear to me before moving from my job to my freelance journey, that I want to be remote capable. And I know it's not that easy to be remote capable. If I'm staying in a place like India and I want to have clients abroad, it takes a lot of outreach efforts. And also, I need to constantly be updated on what's going on in the world because I'm in the international market. I'm not in my local market in my town. So, yes,
Mm,
with all the pros and cons, I would also share that yes, I do not regret being here. And
mm,
the way I have free time and the way I have freedom to make decisions, like just this month, I was traveling to my in law's place. I did not need to apply for any sort of leave or ask for
mm,
permission from someone to go there, and I can just travel any day I want, as long as I'm taking care of the clients that I'm working with. So, yeah, that is something that I would not trade with, even if I get paid more in a job. Well,
yeah.
T, it has been a fantastic session with you. Is there anything else that you want to share before we close this off?
Yeah. I think yeah, I think the thing that I can share with you, like right now, would be if you're a beginner and you have no experience in this, you're just curious by it. I would say just explore it a little bit further and try to foster resilience, because obviously when it comes to things like this where there's a lower barrier to entry, you're gonna have to fight off a lot of people because everybody's kind of in the same position you are. Everyone's thinking to themselves, "Oh, I'm hearing success stories everywhere. This is easy. I can get into it." You're going to get a lot of rejection, like a ridiculous amount of rejection. So if you can just stay resilient and hang in there, this can be something that is true for your reality as well. So whether you're trying to get into the agency game and you're trying to get clients, foster resilience and honestly think to yourself, how do I just keep going? How do I just make sure my mental state is good enough just to keep going, keep reaching out to brands, keep reaching out to whatever the company is, right? Or if you're trying to apply for jobs, like in my case, when I was trying to apply for jobs, it took 10 months to get that job, right? It took a lot of days where it was like, oh, this is not gonna, why is this not working for me? Is there something wrong with me, etc., etc.? A lot of thoughts like that happen, and then eventually you crack one, right? So you have to just keep going. And this space more than anything, especially I think, especially for the online space, right? In the online world, I truly believe that if you just keep going, right, you will find something that works for you. And I think the people that fail in the online game probably left too early. That's how I see it. Like they would have found, like if they didn't succeed with Facebook ads and they gave it a year, okay, cool. But they might have succeeded with email marketing. Do you see what I mean? I think maybe it's a case of just not being in the game long enough and not seeing the opportunities. So give yourself the time and allow yourself to just try to be resilient. I think that's the biggest thing, because if you don't, then you're gonna just see the first thing, you're gonna see the first hurdle, and you're just gonna say, forget this, it's not for me. I'll just go back to security and I'll just do that. But honestly, it might sound crazy right now, but the reality that me and Abby are living right now, it's only happened because we were like, okay, let's keep going. Like this sucks right now, but let's keep going. And if you can just do that, it will massively pay off for you, and you will never regret that.
Exactly. And with all that said, and I certainly believe that we have to stay longer in the game to find out where we fit exactly. We never know what might turn up to be a great fit for us. And like you said, it's not one particular field. Digital marketing is just a wide range of different mini industries in itself, and you might need to jump from one industry to other sometimes to figure out what is the best thing for you, and that may in turn give you a long-term career, a successful long-term career. So if people want to get in touch with you or know more about you, where can they find you?
I think probably the best place is LinkedIn, because you can just read through like all the posts and stuff and like kind of get a better sense of what I do. I don't have a YouTube channel. We spoke about this a million times. I said I would do it. I did not do it. Um, Instagram, probably. I have an Instagram, but it's more personal, so I think LinkedIn is probably the best place. So it's just TEESYAL on LinkedIn, and you should be able to find me on that.
Right, I'll share the link in the description below. Anyways, it was really great seeing you, T, and I hope that we would talk more about many different topics in the future together in this podcast. And if there's anything else that people have as request, they can definitely comment down below. And if you really like this video, please let us know. We can bring in more guests from different countries in the future for this podcast series. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you, T, for joining us today. See you.
Awesome, thank you.